Dynasty. When I say this word, a plethora of sports and teams can come to mind. In the NFL, the Patriots and the Steelers. In the NBA, maybe you think of the Bulls or the Warriors. Maybe it's the Yankees or the Red Sox. But the hockey fans, especially recent watchers, there is one team that echoes through the minds of many. The Chicago Blackhawks. And their dominance, Chicago had many memorable moments and series. But how do they stack up against each other? The bad. Nashville, 2017. Where to even begin? This series wasn't close by any means of the imagination. The Central Division winning Blackhawks were stonewalled, steamrolled, getting outscored 6-0 on home ice to begin the series. Chicago nearly crawled back in Game 3, only to have their hearts ripped out by Kevin Fiala. And outside of a massive hit by Duncan Keith in Game 4, the Hawks went, with but a whimper, outscored 13-3 in the series. Memorable moment, Duncan Keith, Game 4.
It's swept away and Keith ran him over! Victor Arvidsson!
18. Minnesota, 2013. Chicago seemed to always have their way with Minnesota, and this series was no different. After an OT thriller in Game 1, the series looked entertaining until Chicago won 3 of the next 4 by 3 or more goals, gentlemen sweeping the Wild. Memorable moment, Corey Crawford's masterclass in Game 5.
To get things started there. Devin Setaguchi with a shot. It's handled by Crawford. Pass the rebound away. And Setaguchi in front of the shot. Saved by Crawford. A sprawling stop on Zucker. Short-handed situations out there for the Hawks. Here's Pominville down the wing. Firing off Crawford. Rebound. Oh, and a save there by Crawford on Koivu.
Number 17. San Jose, 2010. Coming into this Western Conference Final matchup, most pundits picked the Sharks to come ahead and win. But, in the most Sharks way possible, they responded to the pressure by absolutely folding and crumbling, being embarrassed in a 4-0 sweep. The series wasn't ever close outside Game 1's first period and was simply a stopgap for the Hawks on their way to win the title. Memorable moment, Duncan Keith having his face rearranged.
Keith just got that puck right in the face. Carried back ahead by the Sharks. Pavelski leads it across and punched to Vlasic side of the net. Brett.
Number 16, Minnesota, 2015. Another year, another series that Minnesota laid down for Chicago. 88 should be in the rafters for Minnesota because if we're following the Bible, it says to honor thy father and mother. Swept by Chicago again, this series is saved by the fact that all but Game 2 blowout were one-score games. Memorable moment, Patrick Kane, Game 3, goal line snipe.
Remaining on the power play for Chicago. Starks pass, sent ahead by Shaw for Kane. He scores!
Number 15, Vancouver, 2010. This is a weird series. On one hand, every single Canucks series from the Hawks' history brings bad blood and physical hockey. On the other, every single game was won by 3 or more goals. The on-ice play was great, but constant blowouts make the series meh at best. Memorable moment, Big Buff hat-trick.
Comes to Keith, he drives the shot along with a save, loose puck, they score! Dustin Byfuglien on a Duncan Keith rebound, 2-0 Hawks. For the net. Kane again, passes off, Taves trying to stuff it in, scores! And the Blackhawks get another power play goal, and Duncan Keith is chirping at Alex Burrows in the penalty box as he makes the lonely skate across the ice. Held the puck in against Bernier. Here's Patrick Kane to his backhand, scores!
Number 14, Nashville, 2010. This series without Game 5 is one of the more boring ones on the list, with no other single-goal games. But Game 5 puts in a tier above the others back and forth series but blowout games. Sadly, it was simply not good enough to go much farther. Memorable moments? Hosa's redemption.
Guided it back. Grebishkov has it knocked away. And Boland watches as Sopel gains the zone. Here's Sopel twirling around behind with it for the Blackhawks. Galloping off the last bit of time. They've killed off the penalty. Boland back. Sopel a drive. Skipped in front. Score! Hosa at the side of the net. This is 3 games to 2.
Number 13, Minnesota, 2014. Poor Minnesota, man. Out of all this series, Minnesota put up the most amount of fight this year, at one point having a lead in Game 5 of a tied series. But the Blackhawks were too much, and Kane retained custody of his favorite son. Memorable moment? Kane goes barred down, and Minnesota goes out.
For Seabrook. Seabrook from center ice. Lays it along the boards. It bounces out in front of Bergala. Loose puck here for Kane. He scores! Patrick Kane! What hands! He ends it. And Chicago is headed to the Western Conference Final.
That first chance, as you called it, Straits, it went into the net.
Number 12, Los Angeles, 2013. Here is where we can start to see more memorable series crack the list. Los Angeles in 2013 was a pretty good series, and the story behind these two powerhouses made for a great watch. Hell, it gave us a heartbreaker celebration. 5 games makes the series too short to rank higher. Memorable moments, the heartbreaker.
Bickle, they force a turnover. Here's Taves and Kane. 2-on-1, hustling back is going up a shot. Score! Patrick Kane in overtime!
Number 11, Nashville, 2015. This is a classic and nearly a great series, but is just outside the top 10. Game 1 saw the Hawks go down 3 and Crawford game pulled. That was when Scott Darling had a career-defining moment, and Keith hit the Cowboy in Nashville to end a high-pressure Game 1. Game 2 was a blowout, and Game 3 was a solid 4-2 win for the Blackhawks. Up 2-1 in the series, Seabrook's triple overtime shot found the back of the net, and Crawford had his turn to save the day as Chicago carried on with another come-from-behind win in Game 6. Memorable moment? Darling saves the day.
Wilson standing in front. Ribeiro finds Wilson. Backdoor feed. Oh, what a stop by Darling on Ryan Ellis. Scott Darling comes across and takes one away.
Wow, that was absolutely spectacular. No one saw Ellis sneaking down from the left side. Save of the game by a mile. Their turnaround pass by Wilson. And Ellis coming down. Unbelievable save to keep this a tie game.
Number 10, St. Louis, 2016. The top 10 was harder and harder to solidify, and 2016 versus St. Louis would be looked upon higher in my eyes if the Hawks managed to pull off the 3-1 miracle comeback. But they didn't. So this series, because of bias, becomes the baseline of the top 10. Memorable moment? Kane keeps the Hawks alive.
Here's Kane trying to go wide. He does. Now wrap around. And a save by Elliott. It goes to Chalmerson. The drive, and it didn't get through. Great chance there. And Jay Bouwmeester. Back of the goal. Panik intercepts. In front. Kane, toe drag move. And a shot. Oh! Rebound. He scores. And Kane ends it. Elliott is mad as Kane has ended this game in double overtime.
Number 9, Arizona, 2012. This series was a hell of a ride and a half. Fights, drama, dirty plays, Mike Smith. In a series where 5 of the 6 games went to overtime, you would think this would be higher. And it would be. Except I was a child when this happened, and seeing Raffi Torres nearly eliminate Marian Hossa was my personal 9/11. So for that reason, I'm out. Memorable moment, Raffi Torres turning Hossa's brain into soup.
Coyotes would then take a 1-goal lead before Chicago tied both games late. Jamal Mayers down the left wing. Looks to cut around Morris. Mayers still controlling. Now to Lenny, and Hossa's hurt, Joe, just to your left.
Yeah, no, right down in front of me. Now they go after Torres.
Yeah, Bolin went right after Raffi Torres.
It was a hit where Hossa cut to the middle of the ice and didn't see Torres coming. And then he hit him with a shoulder, but Hossa did not see him coming his way. It was a tremendous body collision, and it was a shoulder hit.
Remember last April, it was Torres with that big hit on Seabrook in Game 3. One more look. There it is. Torres on Hossa.
The Great. Number 8, St. Louis, 2014. 4 overtime games. 4 overtime games. A classic series that set its tone with a Game 1 triple overtime thriller, and outside Game 6's blowout, it was truly a neck-and-neck affair. Memorable moment, Taves calls game.
Big rebound, Keith cleared it. Look at this, Taves, he's in the clear, from center ice in, he can end it, he does! Game over, 3-2 Hawks, 3-2 series lead, going home, Jonathan Taves, he does it again!
Jonathan Taves comes off the ice, off the bench, after St. Louis has a full court press and has 3 guys up in the play, actually 4. See where Taves came off the bench, St. Louis makes a late line change, Bullmister can't get back in the...
Number 7, Vancouver, 2011. If only Chicago had won. After going down 3-0 to a team that had taken ownership the year prior, Chicago stormed back and miraculously forced a Game 7 in enemy territory off an OT winner at home in Game 6. Not just that, but they forced OT again with under 3 minutes left in Game 7. Burroughs still would slay the Dragon to end the Hawks rally. Still a great series though. Memorable moment? I'm so sorry.
And Hughes dumped the puck back in. Campoli trying to clear it. Burroughs shoots, scores!
Number 6, Anaheim, 2015. If I could, this would be my number 1. This series was so amazing to witness live. The juggernaut that was Anaheim facing the steady Hawks. Game 1 was expected Anaheim win, but Game 2 brung us the greatest no-goal ever with Shawzy's headbutt. Vermette in Game 4, one up by Cogliano in Game 5, and then Taves' legacy Game 7. All-timer, personal favorite. Memorable moment? Vermette! It's over!
Work. Played back along by Teravainen and sent on deeper by Vermette. Sharp around behind. Turns away and then being one out in front! No! Another try! He scores! Vermette! It's over! Antoine Vermette, a healthy scratch in Game 3. Back in the lineup. Patrick Sharp does a great job of below the goal line. The first shot was blocked, and Vermette stays right with it. Anderson down and out. What an effort there from Raquel. And Vermette's able to put it in and win the game in double overtime.
Number 5, Tampa, 2015. The last cup run is the first one on the board. The series was amazing, almost a snapshot of the next team to take the Hawks' mantle as number 1. Tampa had taken down 3 original 6 teams in their path to glory, but they just couldn't get number 4. Game 1 was a gutsy come-from-behind win, and each game was a 1-score. What a way to send off an era. Memorable moment, Hedman friendly fire.
Jonathan Taves hard up the boards. Teravainen tipped the puck. Bishop's up the play. Ran into his own man. Patrick Sharp scores! Wow, what an adventure for both goaltenders early, and Ben Bishop is down, colliding with Hedman as Sharp gets an empty netter. 1-0 Chicago.
Play by Taves, back the other way. Bishop goes to make the play, and Hedman's just focused on trying to make sure he gets in.
Number 4, LA, 2014. Boy, oh boy. This one hurt, but was extremely entertaining to watch play out. The Hawks, as usual, went down in the series, but they fought back and fought back hard. Games 5, 6, and 7 were all 1-score games, and even though the series as a whole didn't live up to some of the others, Game 7 is still considered the greatest NHL game of all time. Impossible not to place in the top 4. Memorable moments, Martinez, it's over.
Puck comes out to Martinez. Martinez with a shot. It's in! The Kings are headed to the Stanley Cup final. The shot by Martinez deflected. It beats Crawford. It will be the Los Angeles Kings and the New York Rangers. Game 1, Wednesday night at Staples Center.
It's Justin Williams. He puts it in. He doesn't stop. He gets in, helps out, and eventually gets the puck back to the point. And here's the wrist shot. It goes off number 8, Nick Leddy.
Number 3, Boston, 2013. Absolutely everything about this series was chef's kiss. The most dominant team in the league, facing off against an entire city. The team started off trading the first 4 games with 3 overtimes that had everyone on the edge of their seat. Game 5 saw Chicago take a 3-2 advantage into TD Garden. Boston was up 2-1 in Game 6 with over a minute and a half left, about to force Game 7. And then, memorable moments, 2 and 17.
Steps in and shot one, turned aside. To the bench is Crawford. Extra attacker out in the net empty. They battle in the corner. It's finessed by Keith around for a beat in front. Score! Taves to Beckel with 1:16 to go in the third. It is Lucic back to Ferentz with 70 seconds separating these teams from another overtime. Hasn't happened yet, though. Here's one thrown by Frolik that's blocked away by Rask. Help to the back. Oduya shot deflected. Scramble. They score! Bolland 3-2 with less than a minute to go.
Number 2, Detroit, 2013. The 2013 playoffs were special around the league, and this was no different. Chicago, who had 1 point when 24 games unbeaten, were on the ropes down 3-1 versus a Detroit team slowly leaving their primes. In a pivotal Game 6, Michael Frolik had a penalty shot that gave the Hawks the edge. In Game 7, it was the heroics of everyone's favorite clutch defenseman to seal the deal. Memorable moments? Oh my, he's run into by Bolland.
That one gloved down by Eriksson. Builder to head now, and Nyquist, oh my, he's run into by Bolland. Right back ahead comes Seabrook with a shot. He scores! There's Bolland. And then the eventual goal scorer is going to work himself into that area, and that's Brent Seabrook. The hit, picks up the puck, and Seabrook comes in, takes a quick wrist shot right over the glove.
finally, last but certainly not least, number 1, Philadelphia 2010. What other series, what other moment deserves the top spot more than the goal that started it all? Chicago versus Philly saw two sports franchises in a drought championships with the best teams they had put on the ice in a long, long time. Games 1 and 2 were polar opposites for Chicago, and Games 3 and 4 were important statement games to send the game back west. After 7-4 thumping, Chicago and Philly traded saves and goals until a couple head fakes by 21-year-old Patrick Kane ended it all. Memorable moments: we saw no light, we saw no signal.
Patrick Kane moves to the outside, spins. He's got Campbell in front, and he tried to jab it there, but it went wide. And around it's flicked by Ladd, and then went off of Coburn. On back to be taken by Campbell. Here's Campbell handing on to Kane again. Lots of head fakes there, trying to shake Tiemann. Threw one in front. Oh my, it rattled around, and it kicked on back, and they score! We saw no light, we saw no signal, and we're not sure if they've set a signal of a goal yet, but they are celebrating at the other end of the ice. What chaos! We have not seen a signal of goal from the referee yet.
Patrick Kane with the shot. Oh, that puck is in. It's stuck in the... It ends up in the far back side.
Word has gotten to the Blackhawks what you have just seen. One of the more unusual finishes, but it's a goal. The Stanley Cup to the Chicago Blackhawks. Patrick Kane let the shot go. A delay in the signal, and eventually, after they checked and the play was under review, it goes to the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Stanley Cup does as well.